Hello and welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we have the continuation of one of my favourite things in Sudoku, which is Marty Sears' Rat Run series, in which we always have the same task of guiding Finkz the rat to the cupcake in a variety of weird and wonderful ways. We have done the first 8 of these puzzles on the channel already, and every one of them has been sublime. And there's a new one today which is called Shock Value, and I got an email telling me that there is a 10th puzzle in this series, and it's a fog of war puzzle, and it brings sort of a conclusion to the first batch or something of these rat run Sudokus. So there's going to be 10 puzzles altogether in the playlist. I'm absolutely sure I'm going to try the other one, so that will appear as a video in due course. But today is Shock Value. It has 98% approval rating on Logic Masters, and only 2 stars out of 5 difficulty. Now, the last one I did in the series was really quite hard. It was called something like Discontinuous, and it had Nabna lines that you had to construct in the grid. So this one might be easier, and Finkz might get an easier ride, but we shall see. I will read you the weird and wonderful rules from this great Sudoku setter in a moment or two's time. I don't have much news for you today. As I've been telling you, if you've been watching the last few videos, we have got a brand new pack of Sudokus out in our apps. So Cracking the Cryptic Approachable Sudoku #1, full of sort of coffee time Sudokus, so Sudokus that should be a bit easier than the average puzzle that you see on the channel, but they're very much designed to, I suppose, to help people who are new to variant Sudoku to get the hang of them. So they're great teaching puzzles, but they're also just a lot of fun, even if you know all the rules. Each of the puzzles will probably only then take you 5 or 10 minutes, but each and every one of them, I guarantee you, will bring you a smile and a bit of joy. Wonderful constructors, people like James Sinclair, you can see there, Florian Wortman, Chan Erteran, Mr. Menace, Vessel Strijkstra. It's just, yeah, it's great stuff. So do check that out. You will enjoy. It. It's a couple of pounds. Each one of them is a couple of pounds or a couple of dollars, depending on the currency you prefer. What else? Over on Patreon, we have got the solution videos up and running for Skojo, Jojo, and Jobo's Sudoku hunt. We're busy working hard on the September hunt. I'll have more news on that in the coming days. And apart from that, birthdays. There are some birthdays to do today. Let's start off with Ernie. Ernie, it's your birthday. I know this because your son Matt wrote to us, and Matt actually wrote to us a while ago to tell us that you all watch Cracking the Cryptic as a family, and then whenever anyone spots something, they'll say pause it, and then you'll pause it as a family, and the cleverest one who spotted the next step will elucidate. I love the idea of that. So Ernie, I hope you have an absolutely great birthday today, with of course a chocolate cake. Next, Julia, it's your birthday, and I know this because your best friend Crow wrote to us and said that you would like a shout out, or you deserved a shout out, and it sounded from Crow's email like you discovered the channel independently, and then found out that you both watched, which is rather lovely. So Julia, I hope you have a chocolate cake today, and I hope you enjoy the video. Next, Noella, your dad Andy wrote to us. Told us a variety of things, like your favourite colour is purple, and you love butterflies. And my favourite butterfly is a purple butterfly. It's called a peacock butterfly. You do get them in the UK, but they're not very well. I don't find them very common. But whenever I see one, I'm always stunned by how beautiful it is. Anyway, that's by the by. I think the two of you watch the channel, and I think Andy may even have made you a special puzzle for your birthday, Noella. So I hope you enjoy that. I hope you get some chocolate cake today and have a very good birthday. And then finally, Stu, it's your birthday today, and I know this because your girlfriend Emma wrote to us, and and told us that I think you watch quite a few of the videos, but you really love the cryptic crossword videos as well, and that you've even got Emma into variant Sudoku. So Stu, thank you for spreading the word about cracking the cryptic and these wonderful puzzles, and I hope you have a wonderful birthday. And with that said and done, let's have a look at Rat Run 9. Let's give ourselves an absolute treat. Shock Value by Marty Sears. These are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. The aim of the experiment, this is normally the same in all of these. Finkz the rat. Finkz is a she, by the way, in case you're in any doubt. Finkz the rat must reach the cupcake by finding a path through the maze. The path must not visit any cell more than once, cross itself, or pass through any thick maze walls, as well as moving orthogonally, which means sort of like that, across from cell to cell, crossing a big edge. Finkz may move diagonally if there is a 2x2 space in which to do so, but may never pass diagonally through a round wall spot on the corner of a cell. So, what does that mean? That means that Finkz, let's go to the pen tool, Finkz couldn't do that, because Finkz would have moved through a round wall spot. But Finkz could do that, because that 2x2 doesn't have a round wall spot preventing that traversal. Teleports, we've got teleports today. We had teleports in a couple of the other Finkz puzzles. Entering a yellow teleport will cause Finkz to be instantly transported to the other teleport. From there she can continue her journey. The teleports contain the same digit. So if this digit was a 5, that digit is a 5. That's how teleports work. And if you go in the teleport here, you jump out here. Black currents. Cells connected by a black current have a 1:2 ratio, so one of the digits is double the other, and not all possible black currents have been given. So if this square here was a 2, this square here would either be 4 or 1, because it would have to be in a 1:2 ratio with the 2. Cages. Digits don't repeat in a cage. Every cage has the same total which is to be deduced. The digit on a cage's electricity symbol is its shock value. Any cage with a shock value of 5 or more is switched on, and Finkz should not enter these for safety reasons. Cages with a shock value lower than 5 are switched off and therefore safe to enter. Okay, so we're going to have to pay very careful attention to what goes in those squares there. Oh, let's try and find a colour where we can see the... it's hard to find a colour where we can see the electricity symbol, but the electricity symbol is basically going to tell us whether the cage is electrified or not. And that's going to determine the path that Finkz can take. Now, the test constraint today. In this experiment, the correct path will be a valid Chinese whisper line. I don't think I've ever seen one of these in Sudoku, have I? I.e., adjacent digits along the path must differ by at most 2. Right, so it's almost a sort of consecutive path type thing. They're all the rules. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. I'll reset the clock. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. So, Finkz starts here and doesn't have far to go to the cupcake, but inevitably with Marty Sears puzzles, the path will be as ludicrous as it possibly can be. A sort of April Fool Marty Sears puzzle would be just, you know, the rat starts there and has to go there and can just do it. Right. There is definitely a constraint on the size of the cages I'm seeing, because yeah, that's 5 cells there, and cages can't have a repeated digit, so the minimum we could put into this cage would be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 sum to 15, but this is a domino, so I mean actually we can now label these digits up, because if this is a 15 cage, you can't put a 5 into either of those 2 squares, because it would be at least 6 and 9. And in fact, the maximum size of this cage is now 17, because this can't be more than an 8-9 pair. So, it's not 15. 15 can't be the total. Because you couldn't, there's a secret we can avail ourselves of. Right, I get to tell you the secret today. The secret of Sudoku, which is something I share with only my very favourite people. But if you're watching this video, you're definitely one of my favourite people. I'm going to share you the secret. And the secret is to do with the sum of all the digits in Sudoku. So the digits 1 to 9. If you sum them once each, you get 45. And that's got to be interesting, hasn't it, for that sort of congregation of digits? Because if all the cages in the puzzle only sum to 15, which is what I thought the minimum might be, then these digits here, all of those digits, would sum to 45. But we know that a whole box of a Sudoku sums to 45 on its own, and that would imply this digit was a 0, and it's not. It's going to be a Sudoku digit. So we now need the cages to either add up to 16 or 17, which means we can take a digit out of here, and we can now say there must be a 9 in this domino, because it's either 9-7 or 9-8. And we can keep going, because we can do mathematics. This digit, because the cage totals are now either 16 or 17, this is either 3 lots of 16, which is 48. Now, if those squares sum to 48, but this box sums to 45, this would be a 3. And if the total was 17, then the purple digits would sum to 51, 3 times 17. But again, the box sums to 45, so this would be a 6. So we've got something. There's another cage there, look, that's got to have a 9 in it, and is going to be from 7, 8, and 9. So 9 in box 1 starting to be restricted. There was an electricity rule. It said something like, if electricity is 5. Yeah, this cell is electrifying the cage. So Finkz has to not go through that cage. So Finksz's journey is going to go that way. And I can tell you one thing. I don't know what the reason is yet, but there is absolutely no way that this cage is not electrified. Because if this cage was not electrified, Finkz could just go and get the cupcake, and that will not be how this works. So this digit has to be lower than 5, doesn't it? Because Finkz has to be able to go through this cage to get out. Right, how are we going to do this then? What's going to be... I can't use the logic that means that I know this cage is going to add up. Or I know that digit is going to be at least 5. I suppose that's the point we're making, isn't it? Yeah, okay, I can see. I can see how I can deduce the total of the cage, I think. Yeah, right. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look down here at these squares. Because, oh, that's a terrible choice of colour. The green cage here adds up to 16 or 17, but the blue cage adds up to the same total. 16 is tricky though there, because 16 in 5 different digits, there's only one way you can make the total work, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. But if those 6 cells only contain the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, we would have a lot of difficulty in this box placing the digits 5, 7, 8, and 9, because they'd all have to fit into those squares. That won't work. So actually, we can use these, or the proximity, if you like, of these two cages to tell us that we are actually looking at 17 as the total for the cages, which is going to be possibly interesting. So 17, now, so that means, right, so that's a 6, because these add up to 50, well, those cages add up to 51. That is not a 3, 6 dot, so it's either 4, 8, 1, 2, or 2, 4. I haven't actually thought much about, well, okay, there is a black dot sequence. I've done so many puzzles recently where there have been sort of doublers or halvers and things, but this, today, I think we're in normal land, aren't we? So in this sequence, where we can't repeat a digit, this sequence must be either 1, 2, 4 or 2, 4, 8, because we're having to double numbers. So we can't, for example, go 3, 6, 12, because 12 isn't a Sudoku digit, and you can't go 3, 6, 3, because that will break Sudoku. So this is either 1, 2, 4 or 2, 4, 8, and the middle digit is 2 or 4. This sequence definitely includes 2 and 4. Oh, bobbins, I don't know. 17, right, oh, okay. Okay, so let's do more maths in box 2. 17 plus this cage, which also adds up to 17, is 34. But there are still 4 digits not used in the cage, or in the box. And we know the whole box adds to 45, so these 4 digits add up to 11. And for some reason I find that much easier than working out the only way that these can add up to 17, which now I think about it, I can sort of understand. These have to be 1, 2, 3, and 5. It's the only way of making 4 different Sudoku digits sum to 11. And now that is a 4 by Sudoku, because this cage has to be unelectrified. This is 6, 7. This square, the path is every digit is close to another one. It's a Chinese whispers, so we can't make this 1, 2, or 3 because it would be too far away from 6 or 7. So Finkz in today's puzzle, she is a 5, and okay, and there's no. Oh no, there is. The 4 must go to the 6 because otherwise 4 and 7 are too far apart. So we go 5, 7, 6, 4. That's not 3, is it? So we're either looking at 2, 4, 8 or 1, 2, 4 here. And there must be 2 and 4 in the sequence. So this is a 1, 3 pair, and now this is 2. So that's 2, that's 4, that's 8. We're cooking a bit with gas here. The path has to continue with this digit has to be, it can't be 6, and it has to be a black dotable digit, which means it must be 1, 2, or 3. Whoops, no, just this one. Just this one is 1, 2, or 3. But this can't be 3, because the path does continue to here, and this would be a 6, and 3 and 6 are too far apart. So this is 1 or 2. Either it's a 1, 2 pair, or if this is 2, this is 1, or if this is 2, this is 4. So it's one of those. There's quite a lot of options, actually. Yeah, but hang on. If this was a 1, 2 pair, what would this be? It would be at least 18. Because I know 3, 4, 5, and 6 add up to 18. And the reason I know that, well, it's because I've seen it before, but it's also because the triangular number for 6 is 21, and I know if I deduct 1 and 2 from 21, I get 18. So these squares, well, this can't be a 1, 2 pair, because this would be too big. So does that mean this has to be 2, 4? That seems to be where that logic takes me. So what is this then? It adds up to 17. 17. Yeah, this is the way to do this. This is quite interesting. The way I got this box figured out is by sort of adding the cages and realizing that the rump of the cage had to be specific digits. And look, we can do the same thing here. 6 plus 17 is 23. Oh no, I can't. I thought I could, and my maths let me down. These add up to 22, so they must include a 9. but they're either 967 or 958. Well, they can't be 967 because these would have to include a 6 or a 7. So they are 958. So these are 589. The digits in the electricity pylon are 1367. Right. And that's good. That's exactly what we were hoping for. Well, not hoping for, but assumed Marty would do. Because now I've got a 6 or a 7 in the corner, which turns the electricity on for the cage. So Finkz can't go through this cage and has to go that way. All the way. Oh. Right, so Finkz is going to have to rinky-dink around here, because we can't go from the 4 to the 8, although Finkz could do a diagonal. So, well, Finkz then goes 8 and then on that route. But there's going to have to be some rinky-dinkage across the dot. Oh, my phone's buzzing. Let me just check that. Okay, that's okay. So let's see what this means. If anything. This square's not 8 anymore, so there's a 5 or a 9 in the corner, and that's lovely. It can't be 5, because it wouldn't obey the Chinese whispers rule. So 9 goes in the corner, 5 goes here, these squares become an 8-9 pair, so the cupcake is an 8 or a 9 today. We've got 2, 6 and 7 to place in row 2, and 1, 3 and 5 to place in row 3. So this has to be 7, otherwise the 9 will be too far away. This has to be 5, or the 1 or the 3 will be too far away from the 7. So these digits now are 2 and 6. So right, so well, what we're not doing is going from the 2 to the 6, so that's a forced sort of break of the path. And the path is either going to go down and then up. So the path is using the 6 wherever that goes here. And it's going to go diagonally. But I don't know. We're going to need Sudoku to help us, I think, to disambiguate the 2 and the 6. So okay, what should we do next? I'm not sure. Let's try. I'm going to take the 9 pencil mark out of here. Can I get the sum of those? Well, I know the sum of these is 11, because 11 plus 6 is the 17 we're looking for. But, okay, so this is not a 4-8 pair, is it? Because if this was 4 and 8, we'd already have 12. We'd already have 18 in the cage, and this would be a -1, which is not going to work. So this is either, this has to have a 2 on it. Because it's either going to be a 1-2 pair or a 2-4 pair. But, yeah, it's a 1-2 pair. Because if it was a 2-4 pair, this digit would have to be a 5, and that doesn't work. So I think that's a 1-2 pair. And this square here is an 8 by mathematics. And that cage does add up to 17. And, oh, okay, so that's weird. So the 1 or the 2 means this isn't an electrified cage, but you can't go through this cage because you're going to jump from a 1 or a 2 to an 8, and that won't obey the rule. So we've got to twist there, which disambiguates the order of the 3 and the 1. Marty is so clever. It is just ludicrous. So maybe Sudoku. There's definitely a 4 in this cage by Sudoku. And the other 2 digits are going to add up to 13. So they're not 4 and 9, or you'd have double 4 in this cage. And they're not 5, 8. So this is 4, 6, 7. Now, they are close together. But if the 6 or the 7 electrifies the cage, we can't go through there. And these digits are going to be 9, 3, 5. But yeah, okay. So we can't go through the 9, 3, 5 because 9 is not close enough to 3 or 5. So we are going through the 4, 6, 7, which means this has to be turned off, which means it's 4. This is brilliant. And now we're going through the cage, so we can't go from 4 to 7. So 4, 6, 7 is how we go. Now we probably don't care whether this is on or off. The 6 and the 6 and the 2 at the top get done by Sudoku, and we have to go that way for Finkz to obey the Chinese whispers rule. And now we know the digits. Oh, nearly got a 3 in the corner here. We know the teleport digit is the same, so that's a 3 or a 4. These squares are 1, 5, and 9. These squares are 2, 2, 7, and 8. But this, right, that's not 7 because it's on a blackcurrant. 7 is not a blackcurrantable digit. In fact, 5 and 9 are not blackcurrantable digits either, because digits like 10 and 18, as Maverick's about to fly over, won't work because half of 5 is 2.5, half of 9 is 4.5. It just won't work. This has to be 1, this has to be 2. And therefore, we could have 5 or 9 next to the 7, so that's fine. But you see, my instinct tells me that Finkz is going to have to... Yeah, Finkz is going to go in the teleport because those two digits get too big, don't they? Because this cage adds to 17, this domino adds to 15, which means it's either... In fact, it's not 7, 8, it's 6, 9, but that turns on the cage. The cage becomes electrified, which means Finkz, to get out of this portion of the grid, is going to need to use the teleport. Now, right, and Finkz can't use the teleport by going from the 5 to the 9, so that's not legitimate. But that's a bit odd, actually. Because it sort of feels like Finkz will always be able to take all of those digits and go sort of 9, 8, 7, 5, or 5, 7, 8, 9, or possibly 5, 7, 9, and just take one of them. I'm a bit worried I've made a mistake, actually. I'm not sure how that's going to get disambiguated. Let's carry on for a little while. But I'm just unsure that there'll only be one solution to that congregation of digits. Okay, but if Finkz definitely does go to the teleport based off what we've discovered. So she has to go up here. So maybe we pencil mark column 6, 1, 3, 4, and 8. This square has to be 3 or 4 or 1. Can't be 8, can it? 1, 3, 4, 8. You can't put 8 in a 17 cage because the other 4 digits will be a minimum of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the 8 goes here. Okay, well this is going to resolve some of this on this side. But now... I don't like this. If that was 5, then you couldn't go to the 8. I suppose if that... Yeah, no, okay. So there would be one way to do it. So providing I can resolve the 5 and the 9, it's probably okay. It's probably okay. Yeah, maybe it's... Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I think... Yeah, if this was 5, then I think there would be 2 solutions, wouldn't there? Because we could go 5, 7, 8, 9, or 5, 7, 9, and there wouldn't be a way to resolve that. So I suspect this is going to be a 9 on top of a 5. And the 5 then can't join the 8 and will have to take a diagonal path. But I might be wrong. But at least I'm now happy that there might be a way of resolving this. So, how do we do this then? So we're going to have to work out... Well, one thing we could say is that Finkz can't go through this little... This cage is turned on and electrified, so there's no possibility that any of those cells can be visited. So it looks like Finkz is going to go there. Which means, okay, well that means that digit has to be a 1, 2 or a 3, doesn't it? Because otherwise this is going to be too big. It can't be 4 by Sudoku. Now, right, this is also interesting here, because we can't put 8 on the black dot and you can't put 6 on the black dot. So the only digits that you can put on this black dot are 1s, 2s, 3s and 4s. And you can't put 3 on because the 6 isn't available. So 1, 2 and 4. So this has 2 on it, which nearly does things but doesn't. So it's either a 1-2 pair or a 2-4 pair. Oh, that feels like it's trying to do something for me. What should we do now? What about this black dot? Is that's got to be... Oh, this one's got to be 3, 6, I think. Because it can't have 2, 4 or 8 on it. And it can't have 7 on it for all the reasons that we couldn't put 5s and 9s on ones earlier on. So this is a 3, 6 pair, and we know the order. That's going to do things. So that's 6, that's 3, that's 6, that's 9, that's 9, that's 5. Now, that is the way round? I was hoping that would work, because now we can see that that is the forced path. Thank goodness for that. Right, and okay, so that's got rid of a 3 from this one. This column has not had 1s and 7s in it, and I can place the 1, so that's 1 and that's 7, which means this isn't 1, it means this is 1. That makes its way through the cage and gives us a 2-4 pair. Now that might be helpful. Those add up to 7, don't they? So these add up to 10, and they don't use 1, 9, 2, 8 or 4, 6, so they are 3 and 7, and we can write them in. So that's 7. Oh no, I didn't get 3 in the corner, because that 3 is knocking that one out. That's 4, which means the teleport digit is 4. Goodness, I'm actually on a bit of a run here. This is very unusual. This is 1, this is 2. By Sudoku, that isn't 3, so that cage is turned on, but we don't mind about that. This 8 means this is an 8. Has that been available for ages? Probably. I'm sorry if you've been shouting at me. Okay. So this digit is 5. I was just thinking it can't be anything because I could see 1, 2, 3 and 4 in the row, but it has to be within 2, so that's a 5. Hang on, this is bad, isn't it? Something's... Oh no, the 3 is resolving things. 3 and 1 are okay. This digit is a 9 by Sudoku because it can't be 8. That does the 9 and the 8. This 4 means that's 2, that's 4. These 3 digits here are 6, 7 and 8, which is very good in terms of, well, that's a 6. So that's a 7 and that's an 8. And now what we've got to do, oh lovely, look, the 5 can't go to 8 or 9, but it can go diagonally to the 7, which goes to the 6. If 6 is in the cage, the other digits in the cage are going to have to be 1, 2, 3 and 5, and we know, well, we can see that by Sudoku. There's a 5 at the bottom. There's an 8, 9 pair in the bottom right left-hand corner. Okay, yeah. This Chinese whispers rule is interesting because it can get rid of deadly patterns, can't it? Because I was thinking I've got another deadly pattern here, but by dint of the path, it's probably going to be resolved that way. Well, it needs to be resolved that way. Right, these are 1, 2 and 5 by Sudoku. And these are 1, 2 and 4 by Sudoku. This isn't 9. So that's 9. And we need to put... no, we don't. We need to put 4 and... no, we don't. So why can't I scan that? Is it 6 and 7 into these squares? 6 and 7 into those squares. 2, 3, 5 into these squares. So there's only one way that's turned on. And that's if it's a 5. Well, that's interesting. I don't think that can be a 5. Because I think that blocks the cupcake too. That's really interesting. This square here can't be a 5. Because if it is a 5, like then the 5 in box 7 goes in the other cage. You get double 5 there. And this is just an electrified wall of nonsenses that Finkz can't get through. And somehow Finkz has to get to the cupcake. So somehow Finkz, she will have to traverse either there or there, which means it'll be this one. Because that's far too direct a path for Marty to ever have even considered it. So this is not 5. I suppose by that logic this can't be... no, that's not true. If that's a 5, that's fine, because it's not affecting this digit. Oh, but hang on. Here's another point that's totally different. These two are too far apart for Finkz to be able to go from that square. So that's absolutely beautiful. So this is not the path. So the way that we're going to get to the cupcake is down that little channel and there, and the 8 and the 9 are going to work. So no, we could still have 6. But this digit might be difficult. That's got to be 5, hasn't it? Oh no, but that can't be 5 because it's going to electrify it. Oh no, because it's not in the electrifying place. That's fine. This can be 5 because that's not electrifying it. Sorry, I've got 5s and electrification in my brain, but that's okay, isn't it? So 5 goes here. That just has to be a digit that's somewhat close to 5, and the options are 3, 4, and 5. So it's 3 or 4, I think. And then we're going to go down to a 1 or a 2. And we don't know whether... well, we do know this cage is not electrified, but it's just not a possible path because of this connector here. So let's work out, where does Finkz go from here then? Well, Finkz must go to the 4 because that's the only possible digit. Oh no, I've broken it. Oh no, I haven't. I didn't realise there was a path down there. I was like, I can't go from 3 to 6. They're too far apart, but there is another gap here. So we're going to have to go 7, 5 to 3, I think. Because we can't go to 1 or 2 from there. Oh no, we could go to 7. Right, oh goodness me, this is complicated. This is complicated. So could we go... yeah, from the 4, we can't go to the 7. We can't go to the 8. So we are going to have to go to a 2. And then we're probably going to have to go to this 3, I think, to get close enough to 5. Yeah, so we're going to have to go down to a 2, across to a 3, in here to a 5, and that's disambiguating the 1 and the 2 there. That's really clever, isn't that? Oh, this is now a 2, and that's a 5. Is that doing anything? Nah, maybe not. This is a 1, 4 pair. We can't go from the 2 to the 5. We've got to get from the 7 to the 2 somehow. So we can't go along the bottom because that's going to go 7, 8, 9, and the gap to the 1 or the 4 is too large. So we have to go to a 6, and now we're going to have to go... well, we have to go to a 4 because we can't go to a 1. And we can't go diagonally because we can't go through the red rounded thing. So that's right, that's doing some Sudoku. That's now a 4. Oh, this is I'm still not sure this is going to solve, but maybe it will. That's 5, that's 3, that's 2. This box doesn't seem to have had a 3 in it. So I've got 2 deadly patterns remaining. Oh, okay, but the maths of this box will help us, won't it? That's 11, so that's a 6 by maths. That's doing 6s and 7s. Oh, and that's beautiful. Good grief. Look, now, we can't go from 6 to 9, so we have to go from 6 to 8, and that does the other deadly pattern. Marty, you are a total genius. And now, is there only one route? Yeah, there is. We can't go from 4 to 1, can we? We could go from 4 to 5, but then we couldn't go to 2, so we have to go from 4 to 2. And that, I think, is going to be the route. Let's just double check. Have we actually... Do we always go 1 or 2 difference? And have we closed it entirely up into the teleport? 4, 3, 5, 7, 6, 4, 2, 3, 5, 7, 6, 4, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8. I think so. Let's see. Yes. Whenever you get that massive message in one of these puzzles, it's always something of a relief. Look how many people are doing these now. It's fabulous. Experiment completed successfully. Cells visited 43. Black currants eaten 2. Inactive cages entered 5. Active cages entered 0. Tick. My concerns about the ethics of this experiment were perhaps a little unwarranted. Finkz remained as focused and determined as ever. If anything, she appeared to relish the challenge of determining which cages were safe to enter. I now feel much more at ease about how she'll cope with next week's sensory deprivation experiment. Oh, Marty. Loved it. Isn't that brilliant? Absolutely brilliant. Let me know how you got on with this. I hope you all had a go. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.